Welcome to Mortgage Lending Mastery, the world's longest running podcast in the mortgage industry. I'm your host, Lady Jen Du Plessis, with over 4 decades of mortgage, real estate, and financial services experience, providing the knowledge you need to advance your mortgage practice quickly and efficiently. Hey there, Lady Jen, back with another episode of Jen's Shots. I want to talk to you today about mindset versus heartset. I look back on my career and, you've heard me talk about hustle and harmony, and you've heard me talk about living your legacy while you're building it. I didn't believe in all that. I was all mechanical. Everything was mechanics. And I've also said this too, mindset plus mechanics equals momentum. But I didn't realize that until years later. I was all about the mechanics, and maybe you're all about the mechanics. So have you ever, felt like, you're 39? Have you ever been in that situation where you're 39, you're thinking, is this what my life is going to be like for the next 40 years that I've been in all this hustle? And I've been in all of the superficial activities. I'm busy. I look like a bumblebee running around trying to get business. If you've asked yourself that, and I've been in that position myself. So I want to give you some strategies to get out of that. But first, I want to tell you a story. The story is that I was at dinner with my family one night, and I'll do it in quotes if you're not watching. It's in quotes. I was so-called dinner with my family, not really present, checking my phone, always just looking for the next, scrambling opportunity. And of course, I had a client that called me and I said, oh, I have to take this. I have to take this call because they need me, not my family, my client. My client needs me. So I went outside of this Mexican restaurant and I was walking what I call the concrete balance beam. You've heard me talk about this before, where I'm on the phone and I'm walking on the curb and I'm walking back and forth. And I literally look like I'm walking a balance beam. And I was even opening the door for people to this restaurant and covering my phone and saying, oh my gosh, the food's really good. You're going to love it. And I wasn't getting paid to do that, obviously. And I'm walking back and forth and I'm worried because my husband gets upset, oh, she's on the phone. And then I'm coming back in saying, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to take that call, but I did. You did, right? I didn't mean to take that call. I'm sorry, it was longer than it was be. Oh, is the food come? Have you ordered? And he'd say, we already ordered for you. You're getting whatever you want, whatever comes. And it was just that constant guilt that sat in there, for me. And I was outside, having this guilty feelings of how am I going to overcome this? I'm sorry I had to take the call. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't even say that anymore. I say apologize now, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I was worried about that. So because I was worried about that, and because I was opening the door for people, and because I was talking to a client on the phone and I wasn't in front of my computer or at a desk or someplace where I could dedicate 100% of my time and attention to serving them, they weren't getting all of me either, because I was constantly worried about everything that was happening. You get the gist. I know you get it because you've been there. I've done this at baseball fields. I've done this. You can name it. I've done it, where I'm right on the sidelines, walking back and forth, behind the fence and listening and watching, covering the phone and saying, great job, Kirk, way to go, but not watching his game, not paying attention to the client, worried that he's seeing it, worrying that other parents are seeing that I'm not paying attention to my son's game. So why am I even there? Right? Why am I even there? So you've been there too. And I know, because all of us have been there. We've all done that. And I was outside and I'm walking back and forth and I realized that, it wasn't serving anybody. And it was in that moment that I said, this has to change. And this is really is my turning point in everything in my life now and in my career is my turning point, because I was so mechanical, right? And I when I said that this Jen's shot is mindset versus heart set, I still didn't understand once I went from mechanical to, okay, I just need to focus on mindset. That worked for me. My business doubled, right? My income tripled, and my life got better. My life got substantially better because I went, oh, I need to put some mindset in this. I can't just be mechanical. I've got to do this. So I did some personal development. I went to my first retreat. It was weird for me, meditating, all of that was kind of weird for me. But, I think meditation is prayer. So that's how I look at meditation. But it's how you do. But I started, seeing this other side and saying, oh, I don't need to be so mechanical. I can throw in some mindset work. I can take time. I can take a step back and really learn more about my clients, be curious. I'm very curious in my interviews and my podcasts and my TV show. I'm just and with my clients, I'm very curious about people. But I had to learn to be curious because I didn't really care. It was like, I don't really care what's going on with you. Let's just get to the paperwork. Let's get to the business. And if you find that you're doing this, this is why you're listening to this, right? So I had the mindset and I had the mechanics, and the momentum definitely happened, but I was missing something. And this is what I mentor people on. Is I was really, really successful, elevated myself up to top 200 loan officers in the United States out of 1 million loan officers, tons of money. But I still couldn't enjoy the money because something was missing. I felt really successful in my business, but I felt so unsuccessful in my private life and in my personal life. Now, I had progressed to the point where I was having my family be first, and those types of things, but something was missing. I just didn't have the heart. Again, I was going through the mechanics of it and saying, okay, spend more time with them, be more curious, go through the mechanical pieces of it. I'm really good at both of those. But I still didn't care, right? Does that make sense? It's almost like, mindset plus mechanics equals not caring, not really caring. You got the momentum, business is going, but you're not really caring about people. And so I want to just have you, maybe do some journaling, maybe just, sit in your car for a few minutes quietly without the music as you're driving down the road, and really assess, do I care about my clients? I'm curious about them because I should be curious. I'm mechanical. I'm an astute, expert in my line of work. But is that enough? Do I really care about other people? Do I really have a heart-centered wanting to fulfill? Going back to, why are you doing what you're doing, other than the mechanics, other than being curious and helping them, solving their problem? There's something so much more deep. And maybe you should listen to this again, right? Listen to this again before you go to bed, because this all kind of emerges in dreams. And, when our subconscious takes effect, it all sort of emerges. But, do you really care about your clients? Are you a heart-centered? And I'm not going woo-woo because, my business is about business, right? The strategies and the tactics. But there are layers of what I do, and I coach my clients of really getting heart-centered, really making sure that that you're doing this for the right reason, because sometimes that's the reason why you're not where you want to be, is because you don't have those priorities. You don't have your why, so to speak. You don't have a full understanding of where those are. So the strategy to do that, the steps to doing that, are: one, get your core values in line. I work extensively with my clients on this. Get your core values in line. Then get your core values for your business in line. Then tell your team about those core values, right? The core values for the business, so that you can all be on the same page. And then set boundaries around those core values, so that they aren't just things to say. They are principles by which your business and your person that you live by, and they're non-negotiables in your business. And your team needs to know that these are non-negotiables. If this happens, this is not good in my business, because it doesn't allow for your heart to come through. Right? It doesn't allow for this. So what are those unexpected extras that clients would never expect? If you're going to, I'm trying to think of a service that I've gone to. If I'm going to get a massage, I expect certain things, but those unexpected extras that they do show me that they really care. And yes, it's semantics and it's a process and a procedure, but it does show. The reason it was put in play is because there was someone who said, they know that they can get this, but what if I could do something more because I want to give them something from my heart, right? So you want to be thinking about what are some of the things that you could do that can make the experience for your client much more sticky, right? Much more anchored for them so that they tell other people about it. But what else could you be doing for your clients that shows that you're different and unique and that you care about them? Because look, they can go to any massage parlor, right? Is that a word? Should I be saying that? I don't think that's the right thing. Massage therapist. They could go to any massage therapist and get the same sort of thing. And yes, the massage might be a little different, but we know how it's going to go, right? We come in, we get undressed, we get on the bed, the music's playing, they might have something, they come in, they want to know if it's, do you want hard pressure, soft pressure? What do you want? You know, they do all that, but the experience will be a little bit different. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that experience. I'm talking about the next level of experience. You know, is there a piece of candy that's there for us? Is there, you know, something that they do after the fact that pulls me back in, right? It's, wow, that was a great experience. Not only was the massage great, but wow, they just keep giving and giving and giving. That is what I'm talking about, the difference between mindset and heartset. Mindset, I want you to do because that's what I mentor on, right? Is getting people that opening up that mindset to move past the mechanical, hire people to do the mechanical, make sure you've got that mindset, but now elevating yourself into a heart-centered um, business owner, a heart-centered business owner for you, not only your clients, but what about your team? What can you do for your team? So write that one down. What could you do for your team that makes them feel and know? It's not just a feeling, but know and feel that you are a heart-centered leader, that you do care about their goals, their life, the boundaries they want to set. Have you even asked them what core values they have and how can you help them keep those boundaries? If their family is super important and you know they have if you're not watching this, you know, a mismatch, right? Where they have a family as a core value and you're a single person and you don't have family around and it's not a core value for you at this time in your life because your core values can change. Some of them can change. There's a mix match there and you ask them to stay till 7 o'clock every single night, they're not going to be happy because their core value is not being met. Have you ever thought about asking that? Have you ever thought about asking them what their goals are to determine so that you know your business plan to determine that business plan includes their goals? That's what I mean by heart set versus mindset. So there's these three layers, mechanical, right? The mechanics, the mindset, and then elevating yourself up to that heart set. So I hope this has been helpful for you today. Go back and listen to the directions I gave you about core values and the next steps, and then add in your team as well, making sure that you are heart set for them so that they are loyal to you and want to work with you for ever and ever and ever, as long as you have your business. So I'll catch you on the next episode.
Thank you for joining Mortgage Lending Mastery. If you found value in today's conversation and would like to get support, simply go to supportfromjen.com. That's supportfromjen.com. Or reach out to me on social media. Keep watching and listening for more insider secrets, stories, strategies, and ideas to help you become a master in your business.